I recently had two of the best races of my season at Pete's Alpine and Series and all, so now I'm taking you back in time to show you a big 11-day training block I did to prepare for these races. And with each day, I'll share a training tip that you can apply to your own training. I made it to California and I'm gonna do an easy run this morning, but first I'm gonna do some route planning for the week. So here's where I'm at this week. I'm gonna spend this week over in this area near Mount Diablo and then head over here next week to the Maurten headlands and explore a little over there. And here's Mount Diablo, so I'm gonna start creating some fun routes to run. My first training tip is to train specifically for what you're racing. In this training block, I was training for two races. Pete's Alpine, which is a 15-mile race with 5,200 feet of gain and loss, and Series and all, a 19-mile race with 7,000 feet of gain. I chose to train in California because these races both have very steep climbs with miles with over 1,200 feet of gain and loss during them, so I needed to go somewhere I could train with steep terrain. I live at 7,000 feet altitude and both of these races are close to sea level. Since I live up so high, it's harder to run fast at steep grades and I've noticed my legs tire out before my breathing on steep climbs at sea level, so I wanted to get in training closer to the altitude I'll be racing at. The last reason why I chose these trails is because Series and all is always a really hot race, and I knew I needed to get in some heat training to prepare. It was 85 to 90 degrees around Mount Diablo, so this was the perfect place to train. Today, I ran relatively easy on this steep climb and shook the travel out of my legs. This morning we are headed out to Diablo State Park. I'm going to do an FKT route. FKT stands for fastest known time, and there's a website called fastestknowntime.com, and there's a bunch of routes out there in places all over the world that you can do, and if you run the fastest time, then your record goes up on the website. I've actually done this route before a couple years ago, and so I'm gonna do it again and just see if I can better my time on it. I like FKTs because I think that they're really fun to do if you're in a new place. They're usually pretty fun, epic routes. This one goes all the way up Mount Diablo and you hit a couple of peaks on the way too, so yeah, excited for this one. And it's about 14 miles I think with a little over 4,000 feet of gain, so it's a big route, but it'll be a good way to get in some vert today. My training tip for today is that fueling on these big workouts is key. Last time I did this route, I didn't fuel well enough and was bonking by the end, but this time I was eating 80 grams of carbs per hour and I had the energy to run way faster at the end. In the trails, since the terrain is so different every mile, I fuel off of time instead of distance. Today, I broke up my fueling by eating 20 grams of carbs every 20 minutes. I used Maurten Drink Mix 320, which helped me fuel but also kept me hydrated. Big workout days like this are a good time to test gear and your nutrition and hydration plan for race day. So it's important to train with the same hydration and nutrition plan that you'll have during your race, and test out the shoes, pack, and other gear you're planning to run with too. Think about it as a dress rehearsal for race day. Last time I ran this route, I did it in 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 40 seconds, and today I cut off a couple minutes from my time and finished in 2 hours, 45 minutes. It wasn't a huge drop in time, but I also had to keep in mind that last time I ran this in much cooler temperatures in March. Training in the heat of July is completely different from training in March, so I always keep temperature in mind when I'm comparing one day of training to the other. So I was happy to drop a couple minutes off my time, even in the summer. I woke up quite tired today, which makes sense after yesterday, so I'm just gonna do an easy run in the trails on a place that I've run before that has some rolling hills. In a training block this big, I'm fueling and staying hydrated even on easy runs. I feel like I get behind in fueling if I'm not fueling on easy runs in a training block like this. So if a run is over 80 to 90 minutes, I'm bringing fuel and water along with me. I actually felt a lot better on this run than I thought that I would after yesterday. My legs still had some pop in them, and I'm attributing that to how well I fueled and stayed hydrated yesterday and today. Today I'm headed back to Mount Diablo. I'm going to the trail that I went to the first day, and I'm gonna do the trail from the start up to North Mountain twice. To the top of the peak, it's about 2.7 miles and almost 3,000 feet of gain. It's 2,850 feet of gain. So yeah, just a really steep trail, and this trail is actually the reason why I chose to come to this specific part of the Bay Area, because I need to get in training for that kind of steepness. The tip of the day today is to train your hiking skills. Hiking is a completely different skill than running, and at certain grades, it's more efficient to hike than it is to run. Just like running, you have to train your legs to be good at hiking. If you don't have a big climb near you to practice hiking on, hiking uphill on the treadmill can be a good stimulus too. I did it! I'm at the peak for the second time. That was
really, really hard going up and down that. It's just so steep. So I think I'm at 5,600 feet of gain right now, but yeah, a wild run. It's been really fun.
I'm headed out for a run a little farther away today. It's about an hour away from where I'm staying, and it's in Saratoga. It's one of my favorite trails in the Bay Area, so just going out there for an easy run. You've probably heard this before, but it is so important to keep easy days easy. I run a lot slower on easy runs than I do on workout days. Yesterday was a big day, so I had 2 days of easy running and recovery before my next big workout. Today, I went to Big Rock Ridge to run another FKT I had run in the past. It's a 20-mile route with 4,500 feet of gain and loss during it. This was a really long route, and I was tired going into it, so at the start, it was easy to feel overwhelmed by the mileage. Reframing a workout by breaking it up into smaller segments can help it feel more doable. This route is an out-and-back route with a climb, ridge run, and descent on the way out, and a climb, ridge run, and descent on the way back. So I broke this run up into 6 sections in my mind and celebrated each section when I completed it. This mindset helped a long route feel a lot more doable, and I was able to fully focus on each section. Last time I ran this route, I finished in 3 hours, 10 minutes, and 24 seconds, but I also accidentally missed a turn and added a mile and a half onto the route. I finished in 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 55 seconds today, so I cut off a lot of time, but since I missed a turn that last time, to analyze this workout, I looked at my overall pace. I was 13 seconds faster per mile this time, which over 20 miles is about 4 minutes faster. 4 minutes may not sound like a lot, but at the level I'm racing at, 4 minutes faster can be the difference between being in the top 10 versus being top 20, so every minute counts. The next day, I went for an easy run on Dipsy Trail, an iconic trail in the Maurten headlands with beautiful mossy forests, redwood trees, and a lot of stair steps. My tip for today is that you won't feel good every day during a big training block, and that's okay. Especially after a big workout day, it's totally normal to feel sore, tired, and run way slower than you normally would on a recovery day. Don't overthink paces on easy days after a really big workout. Just listen to your body and go as slow as you need for recovery. On day 9 of this training trip, I ran a route I've been wanting to run for a while. It's a big loop that goes over the mountains and along the cliffs by the ocean. And that brings me to my tip for today, which is keep training fun. This week for me, that means finding epic routes and going on adventures. Other weeks, it's finding time to run with a friend, saving new music or a good audiobook or podcast for a run, or anything else that makes running really fun for me. Running can often feel monotonous, so it's important to bring in things that keep it fun. These past 2 days were the days I felt the most tired, but also the days I ran my 2 favorite routes of this trip. The adventure and beautiful scenery got me out the door and made 2 days that could have been really hard my 2 favorite days of running here. The next day, I did an intense workout with a fast climb. I'm training for races that are 2.5 to 4 hours long, but it's still important for me to get in fast workouts so I can stay efficient in my form and keep some speed in my legs. My workout today was 3 miles of fast uphill running, then relaxed on the downhill. In the trails, I always go off effort instead of pace. GPS splits don't mean much on trails because grade, altitude, and terrain can vary widely. Tuning into effort and heart rate instead of chasing a pace is always the way I run my workouts. Sometimes it helps to run workouts at the same place to compare times on the same sections of trails, but today, since I was tired and at the end of a long training block, I wanted to go somewhere where I wouldn't overthink the pace and I could just go off of effort. The last day of this training trip, I went back to the steep climb at Mount Diablo for one last up and down effort. Today, I wanted to work on running fast downhill, so I ran up easy and took the downhill hard. Just like hiking, downhill running is a special skill that you have to practice to perfect. So today, I have some downhill running tips for you. Use quick feet and keep your eyes 6 to 10 feet ahead so you can plan your next few steps and stay light on your feet. And techie trails, think short, quick strides instead of long, bounding steps. Lean forward slightly and use your arms for balance. Instead of braking when a trail gets really steep, shorten your steps and quicken your cadence. Practice makes perfect, so just like hiking, this is a skill to build into training. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you got some good training tips that you can implement in your training so you can go and crush your next race. Please like this video, it helps me out so much, and subscribe for more running content and adventure in the trails, and I'll see you next time.